Every single human being has a disgusting, ugly, self-destructive habit that nobody is talking about. There's a part of you that doesn't feel worthy. So you outsource love and validation to outside things. This goes so down to the core of what's not working. You focus and ruminate on the one thing you didn't get to, and then you use that as evidence, again, to see a human being that's not measuring up and never will, and all that stuff their stupid fourth grade teacher said to you must be true. No, that is a habit of self-rejection. Y'all got to learn how to bring it back home and anchor the validation and love that you need where you are right now every single day. How do you love yourself? Words, gifts. You can't give yourself affection. Well, yeah, you can. You remember that thing we used to do as kids where you go, actually, you can give yourself affection. I think, you know how I have this habit? I have this habit of always high-fiving myself in the mirror. I send myself into the day, go get a Mel. That's a form of affection. You can show yourself love through words and through gifts and through actions, because love is a verb. And that's the most important thing to think about when you think about practicing self-love and developing habits around self-love. So love is a verb. What are the actions and habits and thoughts that you would have when you think about how you treat or speak to somebody you love? Self-love is about giving yourself all the things that you freely give to the people that you love. And what's so awesome is that when you learn and start practicing how to love yourself, it expands your capacity to love other people more deeply, because you can't give other people something that you don't give to yourself. And I know you're like, whoa, I love other people, but you don't truly love other people if you can't love yourself, because there's a part of you that doesn't feel worthy. And so you got to practice this stuff. And it's everything. Here are some ways that I practice. First of all, if someone you loved were struggling, what would you recommend they do in terms of how they take care of themselves? First of all, you got to get a good night's sleep. That's a form of self-love. Put good food in your body. That's a form of self-love. Take time for yourself every day. That's a form of self-love. Moving your body and exercising. That's a form of self-love. The biggest form of self-love for me is not criticizing myself. So when I catch myself criticizing myself, trashing myself, beating myself up, I kick that noise and garbage out of my head, and I replace it with something that I would say to somebody that I love. Instead of focusing on the things that are going wrong, I kick that thought out of my mind and I focus on the things that are going right. Another form of self-love for me is I'm constantly soothing and reassuring myself. Mel, hey, I know it's challenging right now, but this is preparing you for something. Mel, I know you're nervous, but you got this. You can face this. And notice I'm using my name, Mel. Study after study has come out that when you talk to yourself and use your own name, it has a much deeper impact on you. You have the experience of almost having someone else be saying it. It lands deeper. And it's also through gifts. I also give myself the gift of buying flowers every time I go to the grocery store. I started doing that a few years ago. I love flowers. I was always waiting for somebody else to give them to me. And it dawned on me, why the hell don't I just buy them for myself? And so I do. And you'd be surprised. $3, $4, $5, you can always find a small little bouquet at a grocery store. Stick it on your desk. It's a reminder that you love yourself. Remember, love is a verb. Just treat yourself how you would treat somebody that you love, and practice it, and you'll get better and better at it. It wasn't until I discovered the high five habit that I profoundly realized how much self-hatred I was dealing with. And
despite everything else, yeah.
Well, and this I think is a really big piece of the power of this, especially if you're somebody who's achievement oriented, and everybody that listens to this podcast feels a big calling and wants to do more in the world and make a bigger difference and a bigger impact. There's a real danger that's very common, Jay, that you start to marry, or you've always married, being worthy or lovable with what you're doing and what you're achieving. And it works both ways in terms of if you don't have the number on the scale, it means, again, the dust on the mirror. You're not worthy because you haven't achieved it yet. And for those of us that have achieved some things that we've set out to do, what happens is you find that as soon as you achieve the thing, you actually need to do something else.
Bigger,
better, because it was a thing that you achieved that made you lovable or worthy. And the real trick, and this is everything, is being able to know and feel in your bones that you are lovable and worthy just because you're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge breakthrough for me.
Yeah.
And so, no, I never celebrated because I think I was so married to this idea that unless I'm doing or winning or achieving, and it happens so subtly when you're little because you start to get so much positive praise when you get a good grade or when you do something at school or when you make your mates laugh or whatever it might be, that you start to go, oh, that's what love feels like. Oh, if I do that. And so you outsource love and validation to outside things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you, we all got to learn how to bring it back home and anchor the validation and love that you need where you are right now every single day. And it's only in discovering this that I had to confront just how much I was beating myself up, just how much I was tearing myself down, and how I was chasing these things. Because what I actually wanted was to feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask yourself, okay, great, you want to make $1 million. Why? There's a feeling that you're looking for from that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can start to work on bringing that feeling into your day-to-day life for yourself, it changes the way that you go about achieving things. Like I didn't even enjoy half the stuff that I did because I was constantly maniacally focused on the things that weren't working rather than the 100 things that were. And the same is true with everybody's day. You don't even know the number of amazing things you do every day. You feed the dog, high five. You got the kids to school, high five. You read 10 pages of the book, high five. You said a nice thing to a stranger, high five. You got something done at work, high five. You got through 70% of your inbox, high five. Instead, you focus and ruminate on the one thing you didn't get to, and then you use that as evidence, again, dust on the mirror, to see a human being that's not measuring up and never will, and all that stuff their stupid fourth grade teacher said to you must be true, dust on the mirror. No, you need to interrupt this. Period. You see, the most important relationship that you have in life is the one you have with yourself. It is the foundation of every relationship that you have. It's the foundation of how you experience life. And what we're going to punch a hole through today is the fact that every single human being has a disgusting, ugly, self-destructive habit that nobody is talking about that is part of your morning routine.
Yeah.
And here's the habit. Frederico and everybody on the planet currently stands in front of the mirror as they brush their teeth. Hopefully you're brushing your teeth and wiping that gunk out of your mouth, right? So we get rid of the dragon breath. But as you're doing that, you're doing one of two things. Every human being does this. You either beat the daylights out of yourself and you focus on all the stuff you need to fix, the things you hate, the parts of yourself you can't stand. And that's the good news, because the majority of people are doing the other thing. This is sad. The majority of people cannot even look at themselves in the mirror because they are disgusted or they are disappointed or they don't like how long they've let themselves go. And so every morning, part of your morning routine right now, and this goes so down to the core of what's not working and what you can easily flip and change. Because if you stand in front of the mirror and you can't even look at yourself, that is a habit of self-rejection that gets repeated every single day. You are not even secure enough with yourself and accepting enough of yourself to look at the mirror and see, holy cow, because here's the other thing I want everyone to understand right now. We're going to explain the high five habit, but here's the first breakthrough. You're either, be honest with yourself, which do you do? Do you not look in the mirror or do you focus on the things that you need to fix?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do look in the mirror and there's certainly, I'm going through the day. I'm like thinking how I could have done things differently, what I need to do the next day. Yeah. So I do look in the mirror.
Okay.
Yeah. I tend to avoid looking in the mirror. Yeah. Why is that?
You tell me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, think about it. Why do you think you don't look in the mirror?
I've never thought that it was a necessity to gaze upon myself. I'm sure I glance. There's a picture of me in the mirror, but it becomes second nature in a way.
Yes.
And so I don't beat myself up so much. I mean, that's a different sort of story that we tell ourselves. But I've never thought about the power of looking in the mirror and how that might actually benefit me.
Well, I want you to consider it's not a reflection. There are 2 human beings in the bathroom with you every morning. There's you.
And my daughter, she's always
So now there's 4.
bothering me in the bathroom.
Or the dog or whatever. Or there's 2 human beings.
Right.
There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror. And the human being in the mirror is really trying. And they are in need of your support. And they are in need of your encouragement. And they need you to wake up and to see them. And they need you to stop beating them up. And they need some encouragement. And this is a really deep thing. And it begins every morning by simply taking a moment and being with the human being in the mirror, which I think represents your soul, your spirit, your potential. For people that, kind of like the inner child work and that stuff, it represents the person inside you that's still trying to heal. And if you begin your day every day by not looking in the mirror or by picking apart the things you don't like, 91% of women do not like how they look.
Wow.
50% of people cannot look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And what you just said is exactly right. Most of us, it's so casual, spend that moment drifting into the day where we start to think about all the things we need to do. Or, if you're like a lot of us, you're already pile driving yourself going, I got up too late and I got to answer that email and I didn't get this done and and then you catch yourself in the mirror and you then start, oh my God, I look like crap and I got to be on a Zoom call in 8 minutes and I haven't walked the dog yet. And the pile driving begins.
Yes.
You guys know that once your attitude goes negative, it's going to continue to take you down.
Yeah.
And so first things first, we got to break the habit of self-rejection. And we need to create a new habit of partnership, trust, encouragement, compassion, connection to self. Because if we can start to help you every morning to start your day with a little bit of partnership and compassion with yourself, if you can build the ability to like yourself, even if you're not where you want to be in life, it won't matter if other people don't like you because that can't change the fact that you like yourself. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.